Well, thank you for joining today. I'm really excited to have a chance to share with you 5 pillars for creating a successful corporate event. And the great thing about this little webinar that we're going to be sharing with you today is these are things that can be helpful for any type of corporate event, whether you're looking to do a trade show or an open house or a product launch or a sale at your store, or so many things that you can do to create an event that can lead to so many benefits to your company. And these are even principles that nonprofits can apply to bring in more donors and more volunteers. So I hope that you enjoy some of the nuggets that we're going to be sharing with you. What I suggest is that you grab a pen and paper, and that way you can just jot down notes but not have a bunch of other windows open on your computer or device. And it'll just be really simple, easy to follow ideas, and we're going to include some links that have templates so you can download this information too. But let's just jump right into it. So a couple of the things that we're going to talk about are these 5 pillars that you can apply right from the start of your event planning, and it can help you save money, save time, save a lot of unnecessary headaches or struggles. And the truth is, right now, what we see going online with different gurus that are out there that are teaching, or self-proclaimed gurus, some people that have found overnight success, through an online adventure that they're doing. And there's so many different success stories, some of them that are truly successful, and some of them that have, the mirrors of success. And if you are a established business that has been around the block for a while, you may be trying to find new ways to refresh your presence in your branding, but not necessarily have it tied into just the digital world. You may have a brick and mortar store or a presence in your community that you need to engage with, whether that's potential clients or donors or, so many different things, investors. And that's why it's an exciting time to see all of these different training opportunities that are out there, including mindset. They're great. They have their purpose. But when it comes to some of the fundamental basics of marketing, there's some companies that are actually dropping the ball, and they're not taking advantage of the bonus that we have through digital marketing to really push through with traditional marketing as a fundamental in the business practices. And the organizations and businesses that are doing it are finding great success. Event and marketing industry is billions of dollars. There's a reason why huge companies like Fortune 500 companies to even small companies that participate in local trade shows, there's a reason why people keep participating, and it's because it works. And if you're able to take some of the things for implementing to take your business to the next level, to super jet fuel your event and marketing plan through an accent of digital marketing, you can create an event and marketing campaign that can literally blow up to unexpected proportions that wouldn't be made possible if you just stuck in the niche of only doing online social media or offline marketing, and that market's oblivious to your online presence. There's a way for you to connect your online and offline marketing to create momentum and success. And the reason why I say that so bluntly is because I've been doing events for over 20 years. My name's Elizabeth Marasco, and I'm the CEO of Brady Events and Marketing and the publisher of a magazine called Kudos Magazine. I've owned multiple companies that have done incredibly well. Some of them I've sold, some of them I've migrated to new opportunities. And through that 20 plus years, I've accumulated knowledge through trial and errors and experiencing it in real life. But my background actually starts with my career at Ford Motor Company. I had a chance right out of college to work on advanced electronics marketing. My very first job was actually in technical writing. And then eventually I was promoted to work in advanced marketing electronics. And that included having the opportunity to travel internationally to work on shows that showcased upcoming technology, including shows like Consumer Electronics Show, Society of Automotive Engineers, along with many different design reviews across the United States. And it was an amazing, exciting time. I had the pleasure of getting a lot of training and knowledge through Ford's management training program, including Dale Carnegie. They sent me to Central Michigan University at their satellite location in Dearborn for my master's degree in organizational behavior. And really, it was an exciting time. I had a chance to expand my experience by working with these multi-million dollar projects, and also the knowledge and training that they shared with me helped me for many years to come with future events and marketing that I would produce later on through my own agency. So eventually, I did quit my job at Ford after being there 10 years. I found the need for to expand into other things, including eventually opening my own agency, Brady Events and Marketing. And through that, it created an opportunity for me to build a life that was more reflective of what I was personally trying to do. And now, 14 years later, I have seen how, as an agency owner, I've created different opportunities to evolve and to change. And through our agency, we have literally produced thousands of events for corporate 500 companies, nonprofits, and even some private events for creating that voice that people want to have in the market. If you're serious about building your brand or your business, keep listening because I'm going to share these 5 pillars with you to ensure event and marketing campaign success. But the truth is it's not an easy pill remedy. It's just not. So if you're looking for a quick solution or a get rich quick scheme, this isn't going to be the webinar for you. So, you might want to migrate someplace else. But if you are serious about wanting to create the branding and recognition that your business deserves, keep on listening because you're going to find that this sort of strategy and investment can create something incredibly exciting, filled with so much publicity that it'll be like you have a marketing team working for you. So, the very first thing that you have to do is create a plan for success. And that includes defining what are your goals. So, there's so many different perceptions of what businesses may be trying to achieve. It could be acquiring a lead list of 500 people or selling 5 units of a product or creating publicity and an opportunity to get exposure on the news. So the big thing is to define, what are your project goals? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to entice more investors' eyes onto what you're doing, or more donors for your nonprofit? When you get to that point, become very specific too on what exactly those numbers look like. If it's that you're expecting to, generate leads, define how many leads exactly do you want to get. Or if it's to close a certain amount of sales, define what does that sales number look like. Those are the things that can help drive the vision of where you're going. So as you're making decisions along this event and marketing planning process, you'll be able to determine, does this decision align with what my overall goal is? And with events, it can be very exciting that there's so many different opportunities that will show its face. But if you become too diluted on what it is that you're trying to achieve through that event or marketing campaign, it becomes a lacking of impact. So, right from the get go, define, what are your project goals? What do you want to do? And alongside with that, it's incredibly important to define, what is your project budget right from the start, so that you can make decisions that fit what your budget parameter is. And along with that, being willing to accept that an event and marketing campaign is an investment, which is no different than when you are maybe working on a Facebook ad campaign or a Google ad campaign, and you're investing money expecting a return on that investment. It's not just a frivolous number that you grab. You know ahead of time how much you're willing to commit, that's not going to break your bank. And at the same time, where you become so frugal that the entire endeavor becomes a waste of time, because there wasn't a willingness to commit to treat the project like it's an investment. So take the time to define, what is it that you're comfortable investing. And this may include your event expenses, your marketing campaign, and the big one that a lot of people overlook would include staff expense, from labor that may be required to set up your event or to staff your event, or fill in the blank. But getting those two things down for planning for success are detrimental. Define your goal and define your budget. The next thing is, after you've defined your goal, it's going to help you stay focused on what is the product or business message that you are trying to communicate with the community. And this includes your branding. That can go as far as, what are the graphics that you're using that are tied to your social media presence, your website, even maybe print advertising or posting or billboards or posters or flyers that you're doing, and even the overall communication that you're sending out to the media, maybe through your press releases or different hashtags that you're using online to help drive that traffic, instead of just doing it sporadic and spread all over the place. If right from the start you define, this is our message, these are our design components and elements, whether the logo or the tagline or the hashtag, and you use it consistently, creating this cohesive piece that people can identify through different formats they may come into contact with your message about your event. People have short-term memory, they forget, and sometimes they don't even hear what you're saying at all. So one of the principles of marketing is to communicate 3 different ways, 3 different times. But as you're doing that, making sure that there's a common thread and that continuity so that people can help make that connection and say, oh, Sally's having an event on this day. I need to market. The more engagement people are doing on social media, they need to be reminded in other ways too. Not to the point that it's annoying, but to the point that people are finally making that connection of what it is that you're trying to tell them. But if you're changing your message all over the place, and you have different colors going and different logos and different taglines, that there's nothing for people to sink their teeth into. So if you have multiple people that are working on this project and they're all bringing their own personal interpretation of what that message is, it's not going to be consistent. There's not going to be something that resonates with your audience. And that's the big thing with communication and your business message today is being able to achieve your goal of what you're trying to do, but delivering what the customer is asking for. And in the past, marketers were a bit spoiled of being able to just go to the market and say, this is what I'm bringing you and this is it. Today's market is significantly different because clients engage and they have a certain expectation of what they're going to get. And it's that mindset of mass customization. So are you doing things that are correlating to the way that your client talks and what they're saying versus what you're saying in your jargon of your industry that you're so familiar with? That was one of the things that I did learn through corporate America, was that there were different ways that engineers would speak amongst themselves versus if we were faced with an executive review on a technology or bringing it to market for the end consumer to engage with. If we were delivering these products and it was filled with all engineering language that was familiar to them, there would definitely be a disconnect with what the client or the person that was engaging with it from a consumer standpoint. And that's why it's your responsibility as you're creating your business message to have it reflective of what are your clients saying? What are your consumers saying? So some of the tactics that you can use to get a better idea of what your market is saying. Research on platforms like Amazon. Find industry books that are tied to your niche and start to look through the reviews to find out what is the language that consumers are using. It helps if you're able to share your message outside of your industry for review to make sure that they understand it. And often, if you're really passionate about what it is that you have created for the market, sometimes we can get caught into our own jargon and lose our clients. And communication's key. If you start to break that down, you've lost what is the lifeline for making that connection, whether it's for you trying to close a sale or build a relationship. If they can't understand your language or relate to you, it's defeating. Take the time to define what is your branding, what is your message about your product, and make sure that it's correlating with what your potential target would be able to understand. Some people will actually go to the point of creating an avatar that creates a visual representation of who their target market or client is. And one of the benefits is it creates a sense of personalized communication, of visualizing who it is that you're talking to, that you're hoping to receive that message. So there's a whole market out there that's waiting for you. But the question is, are you speaking their language? If you're able to master that, that becomes one of the keys to business success. So take the time, focus on defining what is your product message and how do you communicate it in a way that that client can understand really what it is that you're trying to convey. The next one that I want to jump into is logistics for your event, and planning it can be key to avoiding a lot of pitfalls and headaches and so much more. Now, with events, there's so many different formats, whether you're hosting your own event at your location or participating in a trade show or, fill in the blank. There's so many different ways that you can have events, but the fundamentals stay the same, whether it's going offsite to somebody else's location or staying on site, is being able to identify the logistics that are required to help you fulfill your vision of what it is that you're trying to accomplish during your event. So some of the basic things are identifying your venue and looking at different details of the layout of the event, the accessibility, the cost, things along that line, and even taking the time to look at the overall layout of, let's say that it was a booth that you have, to key elements within that booth or within that experience of your event that tie into your product messaging and branding. This becomes a great opportunity for you to define how are you going to communicate your message face to face with your client, whether it's through product displays that you have available or video or audio that's playing to help share your message, the staff that you have on site and the things that they're saying to engage those clients on site and get them into your pipeline for sales and follow-up communication. So on-site details they're detrimental because having that game plan in advance and knowing how things are expected to roll out and making provisions for emergencies or mishaps can create a safety net, taking the time to identify what are some of the needs that you have. And it could be while you're on site, you need access to Wi-Fi, whether it's through being able to run transactions through a credit card terminal or to showcase a marketing piece that you might have looping online on a monitor. But understanding what are the on-site needs that you have for creating an experience that's reflective of your message that you're trying to say, making sure that you're having all those tools. And then getting into the branding part can be a lot of fun if you take time to identify what are ways that you can communicate your message face to face with those clients. And if you go to trade shows, you'll see, like for instance, the auto shows, you'll see a whole slew of different cars that are lined up, showcasing the latest and greatest or their wow factors. And sometimes there may be display props that are outside of a car that highlight, what are the product benefits or features. And those are things that, can be even applied to small to medium business, where if you're highlighting let's say a healthy nutrition meal supplement, taking the time to create signage and print pieces that help people understand what that product is or what that service is. And there's different formats. You can do it through utilizing print and brochures and takeaways, to creating digital assets that are playing, online within your booth. There's so many different ways that you can do that. But part of this is going back and identifying, what did you say your project goals were? What did you say your budget is set at? And then tying back into how do you manage that to execute these on-site details. And the big part of that is taking the time to utilize different platforms, even if it's like an Excel sheet, to track what are all of these different components that are tied into your event for making it successful. And then tracking, what is the cost? How does that rank in comparison to what your budget was set at? And then reevaluating what is your goal and making sure those line items that are driven from your event logistics setup correlate with what you previously set up as your budget. And sometimes this becomes the defining moment for a lot of people that maybe don't produce events regularly, where they might have price shock of the different costs that are tied to their event and marketing campaign, and it could be the event venue cost or the cost for producing your video or your display property. So sometimes there may be a need for an adjustment, if you will. But that's why I said to you at the very beginning, when you step down this endeavor of participating in an event and marketing campaign, is that you need to look at it as an investment and treat it like a campaign, and make sure that you're monitoring what are the costs, what are the expenses. But as new things come up that you're not aware of, you may have to make adjustments either to your budget or to the vision that you have, especially if it's a hard line, black and white, I can't go over this budget. So define it so as you get into this logistics part, you're able to make sure you are on task. This is so absolutely important because it can create the path to this was a successful event with a really positive experience because you're managing it instead of allowing these details later on to add up and then start to manage you. All right, so the next thing that I want to hop in and talk to you guys about is marketing for your event campaign. Often people will get tied into just executing the event and making it happen without taking the time to create a marketing momentum that helps your event blow up in extraordinary ways. And let me step back for a minute. As you went and you started defining, what is your business message? What is your branding? What is that image? As you create those assets, it's time to reflect on how can you take that message and make it newsworthy. What is it that you're doing that is so exciting and wonderful that is maybe making your community or your industry or in some way making something better, or it highlights a positive story where it's not a generic infomercial that's not newsworthy of I've got a great product. It could be a twist of, a mother-daughter team that explored the adventure of being an entrepreneur and then doing storytelling that ties into that. Or it could be an engineer that found a solution for saving gas, and here's his background story of where it started from. How do you create a newsworthy story where the news or media feel excited enough to share that with the community on your behalf? But too often, even from like a local standpoint, I will see people that invest all of this money into producing an event, but they didn't really create a marketing campaign that was tied to it that can help generate publicity outside of just what their internal marketing department is doing. And it's sad because it creates an opportunity when you have an event for the media to capture those story bits in an exciting way. And with the marketing part, one of the things that we're really fortunate about in today's day and age is through digital marketing, we have the opportunity to become our own promoters. And it's absolutely insane the amount of exposure that can be generated through digital and social media to create these connections with people online that are phenomenal. And this is where it's almost like a double win. When you're producing a great event, you're also producing an opportunity to create awesome online social media content. So it becomes this win-win situation through different strategies that you can implement to push out social media messages through what you have going on to create momentum and excitement and buzz about what it is that you're doing. But this comes to the point of the necessity of understanding what is your product message and how do you communicate that leading up to your event as a teaser. And then the second part is during the event, utilizing that time for marketing and promoting, number one, face to face with clients that are there, but then engaging your online presence to see how wonderful you are and what it is that you're accomplishing, and to get a chance to see behind the scenes in a unique way. And then the final part is, how do you follow up post event to say, hey, let's make this connection extend beyond just meeting face to face. Let's continue this connection with online interaction or a follow-up email or phone call, but getting people into this personal relationship with your brand or your business is right there for you to seize. When you have this face-to-face engagement, there's an energy unlike any other format of marketing and communication, because there's that personal connection of being able to see the products up close, up front, ask questions. And right at that moment, that's when your branding is becoming, 4D in real life, where people are experiencing what it is that you're saying face to face and in real time. So take the time to really understand what are the different layers of marketing that you can do. And it's not necessarily just tied to, I'm going to market by buying advertising on, TV, radio, social media, and print, and then that's it. It's not. It's at looking at these three different pieces to your marketing and integrating it right at the start. And that includes your pre-planning during the event, what's leading up to it, during your event behind the scenes, and then of course your post-event online and offline marketing follow-up. And that's why it's important at the very beginning to embrace that idea of defining what is your product and business message and branding, and then use it consistently through all of those different stages of your marketing. It'll help create a connection where customers can say, aha, oh yeah, I remember that. And the final step to really creating an event and marketing campaign that is successful is you move into this having an action plan for your sales funnel. Too often people participate in these different events. They end up making all of these great contacts. Sometimes some of them fall off the table. You lose momentum or conversation, and there becomes a failure on how to create a long-term relationship and connection with all of these face-to-face contacts. So one of the things that, as you're defining your overall event, plan is creating this pipeline of how do you create this connection with people after your event has completed. And this may include utilizing different websites that help direct people to different paths that you want them to take on your website to get them to close or to get them to connect with different information that you want them to have access to. Or it can be collecting their emails so that you can communicate with them later on through email or texting, which that's a whole another thing that we need to talk about another time, are the advantages of making these one-on-one connections. You can get their phone number, text them, and get them involved with your message so that you can have them in your pipeline beyond just this face-to-face engagement. And there's a lot of things that you can do at an event to get people excited about signing up, whether it's through different promotions or different giveaways that you have on site, but doing it in a way that is strategic and not just getting a lot of traffic of people that just want freebies. So as we move into some of our other programs, we give people different customized consulting on finding what are these giveaways or connections that you can have that can help customers say, hey, I'm willing to give you all of this personal information because I want to know a little bit more. And the fun thing is knowing ahead of time before your event even happens, how you create the sales funnel that can be used offline and also online. And that goes back to what I was saying to you at the very beginning. We're incredibly spoiled by having all these different marketing and digital tools available to us at our fingertips, but we've got to be willing to take the time to execute the use of those. And part of it comes back to being prepared in advance to be able to manage that kind of data and that kind of experience so you can create these long-term relationships that will come from having events where you're meeting people face to face. And there really are so many different benefits to getting involved with events, starting from having the opportunity to meet prospects and build relationships. Those are the things that can help you sell more products and services. Also, having a chance to gain more PR, branding, and social engagement. Alongside with that, there's a lot of professional connections that can be built when you start getting involved with more events, whether attending or participating or creating your own. There are a lot of profitable brainstorming and idea generation that can take place just from you getting involved with producing these campaigns. It can become amazing people that will come out of the woodwork as they start to hear a buzz about what it is that you're doing. It can also be a great way for you to attract potential investors. Aside from just, potential clients, you may have an idea that's so great that people say, hey, I want to get on board with what you're doing. But part of this goes back to you defining what are your goals and your objectives so that you can focus and manage all of your actions on that one task of what is your goal. So I think that overall the thing is with events is taking the time to realize that the potential to start up or revamp your company or do whatever you want, the potential that can come from events is phenomenal. So, if you're ready to scale your business and embark the journey of producing your own event marketing campaign, I want to make an offer to you right now for our event and marketing secrets class, where I break down a step-by-step process for ensuring event success and helping you build the branding and recognition that you know you deserve. Now, this program is designed for people that are really focused on taking action. So, if you're somebody who quits or pouts or gives up easily, I don't want your money. This won't be the program for you. But if you're willing to follow the steps for creating an event and marketing campaign built on planning, you can't lose with this. Now, what I'm going to show you, you don't have to be a tech wizard or take a bunch of online classes to understand what we're going to show you, but I am going to be able to go behind the scenes and show you different tools that are available to help you create both an offline and online marketing strategy that will help ensure your event success. So if you follow this step, I think that this is something that can create an opportunity for you to share your gifts or talents with the world and really be able to showcase your product in a phenomenal way. So I believe that you watched all the way through this webinar because you know that it's time for you to take back control of your business. And instead of just randomly taking yet another online marketing class or another understanding of the latest technology that's out there, this class is actually going to be step by step to walk you through real life time of producing an event campaign that's going to produce results. So you have nothing to lose. If you are interested, all you have to do is click on the link, sign up, and I will see you on the inside of this program. In the meantime, I wish you abundance, success, and tons of happiness. Thanks for watching, you guys.